It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstyne.
One of the things I craved the most when I was vegetarian was gyros.
Well, yeah, honestly.
The first three things I had after I was done being vegetarian, when the pendulum swung back, I had a steak at Ruth's Chris, I had a gyro, and then I had a beef and sausage combo.
That sounds about right, yeah.
Dipped to the extreme.
The manager of Kuma's held bacon in front of me. And he goes, "You need to eat this." And I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat it.
And there it goes.
And there it was. Yeah, the next thing I knew, I was eating a Slayer burger, and it was over with for me.
And here we are, which is bunless, which I appreciate.
Yeah, right? Yeah, in this low
So
carb.
it's healthy. I mean, it's low carb.
It's healthy-ish, yeah.
Healthy-ish. So my point in saying all this is I'm really glad we're about to eat gyros.
I am as well.
This right here is Car Con Carne. Car Con Carne is a Q101 podcast. I'm James Van Alstyne. Car Con Carne is sponsored by Easy Automation, easy-automation.net. Transform your living space, or maybe you own a business. Transform your business with cutting-edge home automation. Experience seamless control over audio, video, lighting, climate, security, everything. Embrace the future of smart living. It's your home, your rules, motherfucker. Give my guy Dan a call, 630-730-3728, or go to his website, easy-automation.net. Now, I say that, Stavros, because he wants me to, but also because it's metal and you're metal, and I figured,
Right. That makes sense.
when in Rome.
Yeah, when in Rome. Or Glenview.
Or Glenview. This is this isn't Niles, is it?
This right here is Glenview. That over there is Morton Grove. That corner over there is Glenview, and that far corner is Niles.
Very confusing.
Yes.
Very confusing.
I know this because this is where I'm
This is
from.
your turf. Okay.
Yeah.
Car Con Carne also sponsored by Tag Publicity. Tag Publicity is a music and event publicity. Easy for me to say.
Publicity.
Tag Publicity is a music and event publicity company that is freshly distinctive. Tag Publicity is a full-service entertainment PR, talent development, branding, digital marketing, social media management, project management, distribution, content creation, booking, and public relations company headed by Evan J. Thomas. Reach out to Evan anytime. If you're in a band looking for someone who can help you push you over the edge in a good way, reach out to Evan J. Thomas PR at gmail.com. You can also follow Tag Publicity on Facebook, Instagram, and the TikTok. One final programming note, Car Con Carne, Thursday, May 15th, live on stage at Legit Dogs and Ice in South Elgin, 322 South Randall Road. We're recording the show there on stage. It is absolutely free. The food is awesome. I will have live performances and interviews from Karen Shook, Aaron Williams, and Derision Cult, comedy from Chris Bongat, and craft brewer Carson Souza from Obscurity Brewing will be joining us as well. They make mead. I don't think I've even had mead. I know Thor drinks mead.
That's right.
So if Thor drinks...
That's what I know about mead.
Really?
Yeah.
Like Thor and Hercules? Like when they go for one of their arm wrestling matches?
Correct. That's what they're drinking, yeah.
That's what they're drinking.
There was an Atlas Moth mead made.
Was there really?
Yeah. Brimminghorn Meadery out of Maryland made it probably 6 years ago.
Was it good?
It was okay. I was gonna lie and say it was great. It was a coffee vanilla honey thing, and I drink black coffee, so it wasn't my cup of tea.
Stavros, that's him from the Atlas Moth, is back for his fourth.
It was my fourth. I thought it was my third.
No, fourth.
Fourth it is.
Well, let's think about this.
Kuma's was one.
Kuma's was one. We did one during the pandemic.
Epic Deli.
Epic Deli, for sure.
Pour one out for Tyler.
Oh, so that was three.
Yeah, that was three. Yeah.
We did one to talk about your dog calendar.
That's right. I forgot about the dog calendar.
Yeah, so it's four. So, but it's also been over 4 years since we last chatted.
Correct.
So,
I also haven't done much in 4 years, so here I am.
We'll talk about that.
There we go.
One of the first things we'll need to address is the fact that the Atlas Moth has been quiet for the past 5 years. Your new band Motherless is ramping up with an album set for September release.
Yes, sir.
We're a little bit in front of that.
We are a little bit in front of it, but hey, let's get the PR machine rolling.
Let's get the PR machine rolling. Any press is good press, and we're getting
Yeah.
This is the beginning of the wave of press to follow Motherless. We are outside the Works Grill in Glenview, a place that my Greek friend here swears has some of the best gyros in the state of Illinois.
The best tzatziki sauce, hands down. I think they all have the same gyro meat, right? It's all Kronos, right? Just off the cone. It's all about the sauce, though, and the pita, and the vegetables are great on it.
But yeah, the tzatziki, that kind of cucumber sauce.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, you got to get that right.
You got to get it right. And this place is the only place that's ever done it where it's not watery. It's kind of thick. Kind of reminds me of actually homemade.
Okay.
Which is really what it's all about, right?
And you are Hellenic.
I am.
Yeah. Did you grow up on like homemade?
I did.
Really?
I did.
That was a family thing.
Yeah, only not in gyros. We didn't have a spit in it.
You're right. But the sauce.
I wish. But yeah, the sauce goes on everything, though, so, it's a pretty simple sauce, too, like Greek yogurt, lemon, cucumber, salt.
This is the only way I like Greek yogurt.
Really?
Really. Like, if I'm buying yogurt to eat with, like, fruit, I want the Dannon-flavored, thin, no protein value whatsoever yogurt.
Yeah, no, I'm like the guy that's now, like, replacing sour cream with Greek yogurt.
Okay.
It's a depressing state of the world that I'm in right now at 42 years old. I'm over here being like, maybe I'll have the wrap. And I really hate it. But it's just, I would like to walk, without unencumbered for the rest of my life and look good when I'm screaming into a microphone. So
I want to be healthy as I watch the world spiral into oblivion. I want to.
That's right. As our now president is calling Mattel, the toy company, a country. I'm not sure if you saw that today. That was a good one.
That was overshadowed by news of the Pope.
Pope from Chicago, Illinois.
Pope from, all my funniest friends have been at like peak performance today.
Bob the Pope. I'm into him. You know what I mean? Like I just saw on the way here a little reel of him being announced or coming out as the Pope, set to Sirius by Alan Parsons Project,
like the Bulls
engine song. That was it for me. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm not a Christian. I'm definitely not a Catholic, but I'm for this guy, I think.
Yeah, the Onion posted first Chicago-style Pope announced, and you see him like in his poppy seed bun.
Perfect. Yes, excellent. I love that.
So we're in Glenview, outside the Works Grill. We're in the Talisman Center strip mall. Now, Stavros, correct me if I'm wrong. I know you're Greek. This is an Irish thing, but Talisman is...
There is a four-leaf clover, which I literally told you I grew up behind here. Literally about a football field away. And I've never noticed that there was a lucky, a four-leaf clover up
This is the least lucky strip mall, I think, in the north suburbs. What I want to know, so the Works is here, and it is the standout location here.
It's the only location
that's not shuttered?
That has, weather the storm of retail death. Growing up here, that was literally in the exact same location.
Yeah.
Owned by a Greek man named George from Tripoli, which my father's name was George from Tripoli.
No way.
They knew each other in Greece, and they hated each other.
No way.
He had a son named Stavros.
No way.
Yep. And I grew up playing basketball with right over here at Leitendorf Park.
That's crazy.
Yeah, right behind us is actually Washington School.
Yeah.
I'm a proud Wildcat. I went to 1 through 6th grade there. Across the street over there was the first Blockbuster in this neighborhood.
I remember that.
I rented all my original WWF VHS cassettes from.
Nice.
Yeah, there was also a like a trading card store in the 90s right over there in that corner, which was technically my first job at like 11 years old.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And back in the day when 11-year-olds would work, like, I mean, I think my first job was when I was like 14 or 15.
Oh, yeah. I knew how to drive a forklift when I was about 12.
That's awesome. That's so Midwest. But we're in the strip mall, and like we said, the Works is here. There's something called the Urban Air Adventure Park.
That was Burlington Coat Factory, and when I was growing up, it was a grocery store.
It looks like a former grocery, and Burlington is now down the street by the also depressing Golf Mill Mall.
The Niles, Glenview, Morton Grove area is just a plethora of dead malls.
But here's my question for you. Here's my dare for you, Stavros. Here's my challenge. There's a place here called the BDG Sports and Gastro Pub.
That's new to me.
Okay. It is very nondescript. It is tiny.
Yeah,
it doesn't look like a gastropub. Like, I don't think we're going in there and ordering charcuterie.
Should we try that?
I'm saying after we're done recording, I think they've got maybe like a South Korean beer neon there.
Is that what that is? It looked Italian with the coloring,
it does.
Right?
The color is white, red, and green. I say we poke our heads in.
I'm in. Although I'll tell you, I have poked my head in to several nondescript, necessarily Asian places here, and I've gotten some really hard looks. One may have been a prostitution ring.
Oh,
I think I'm positive about it. Actually, that's a whole other story, though. This is going back to high school lore. Yeah. There's a lot of weird shops out here that will look at you really hard when you walk in, simply because you're not whatever they are.
Well, if we can avoid human trafficking,
it's like my goal every day.
Yeah.
Now is here, been here for a while.
What is? Oh, it's
that is a Greek. That's more of a Eurotrash Greek.
Wait, that's a restaurant?
It is a cafe that turns into a nightclub.
It looks like a Kitchen Nightmares restaurant.
It
like the kind of place that Gordon Ramsay would visit.
That place definitely does something that's not legal. I'm positive about it.
They're laundering something for something.
There's something going on there for sure. There used to be Sashta's Pet in here, which was maybe the most depressing pet store of all time.
Like a puppy mill.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was gnarly. And then over here, there was a drugstore at one point. Okay. Which is where I rented Texas Chainsaw Massacre 4 from for the first time.
What a great time to be alive as a kid.
Yeah. There was the nightclub that you mentioned, and we rolled up. McGreevy's.
Oh, McGreevy's, right. The teen nightclub.
It was a teen nightclub in the 80s.
We should start eating as we're talking.
Yeah, right.
I'd never been.
You'd never gone?
No, I grew up in Skokie, and I know people who went, but that was just never my thing, because it was like a dance club. That wasn't my vibe.
It was a dance club, yes. My brother actually crashed his, I think it was an IROC, showing off to the line into one of these yellow light things here. There also wasn't one of the first arcades in this neighborhood, right next where the Cleaners is, I believe it was. JJ. And you couldn't go into it really because it was kind of dangerous back in the day, according to my parents at least.
I believe it.
Who were probably just foreign and not aware of things called video games yet.
Oh,
right?
Dude, look at this.
Yeah, that's a Euro.
That is a Euro. Oh, this looks great. It smells amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. This brings me back, man.
And no one does Euro. I mean, obviously, the Works is the best, according to, I guess, Stavros.
That's right.
But no one does Euros like the Chicago area does Euros. That's legit.
There are no Euros in Greece.
Is that true?
Mm-hmm. It's all Slovaki.
Okay.
Right, so...
I wish I brought forks.
Yeah, we should have got a fork. But you know what? I'm a savage. I've been doing this for my entire life, so I'm not... This is nothing.
Here we go. Mm-hmm. This is why I brought a lot of napkins to the car.
That's right. I've learned, especially having a beer. This is a very unfriendly beer food. They sold this. I guess they didn't really sell it necessarily. Yeah, there was money exchange, I'm sure. This location was sold, unfortunately, because the last remaining of the 3 original owners died a few years ago. He has a mural painted on the inside of the wall there, if you recall. Back in the day, though, the place is a little bit. I will say the decoration there has kind of lost a little bit of its charm. It used to be very kind of yellow tinged because George would sit in the back smoking his Marlboro Lights all night.
Different era.
Yeah, it was a different era. You would go in there on Sunday nights and they wouldn't ring up any of your food. You know what I mean? A little underneath the tax realm right there. And it was always covered in autographed photos. And I always wondered, who the hell would come to Glenview to eat a Euro? And the one person I can always recall being up there was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Which, yeah, I know. I always wondered how Stone Cold made it over here for a Euro. And also how I wasn't possibly there for that.
Right.
But those are all gone. Now they're replaced with very atypical kind of nondescript food type art in there that's really lame. Gone is the typical painting in every Greek restaurant of that windmill, which is literally in every Greek restaurant ever. That's gone. But the food remains the same. They knew what they were doing. They did not change a single thing on the menu.
The tzatziki is really good.
It is where it's at.
It's almost kind of sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. I never noticed that.
The pita, it's the right... I like that soft kind of...
They fry it in the grease from... Oh, God. I'm just totally blowing my diet right now, and I'm totally for it. I was sitting here be like, oh,
well, if you're gonna cheat for a night, this is it.
Right. You know?
And I'm trying to pick at the Euro strips.
You have to.
I know, but just so I can get it to a handheld state, this is going to take a while.
I know. Yeah, we're in for it right now.
This is... we're going to be fist bumping, not shaking hands at the end of this.
100%, yeah. I'm also probably going to have to go and brush my teeth after this before I go see my girlfriend, because this is
not a bad idea.
Serious.
Not a bad idea. It's interesting. You said you grew up here. Greek family owned it. Your Greek family knew their Greek family. I remember growing up in the area. Significant, I don't know if it's still true, significant Hellenic population.
A lot of Greeks out here. Actually, I think now I moved back to Niles now, last fall. And I think it's gotten Greeker. I'll tell you what, though. I grew up, I didn't know many Greeks, though. It was a very Indian and Korean neighborhood. So I grew up with a lot. It still is, right? Yeah, I grew up with a lot. It's kind of funny. I grew up with so many different kinds of people. Going, like I said, across the street to Washington, then I went to Gemini and then Maine East. Very, very, I was around everybody. I didn't understand the people that were like, oh, I never saw whatever, fill in a non-white race here until I got into college. It's crazy to me.
I agree.
I literally was the minority around here. And it was great, though, because there was always so much awesome food. And it's
God, yeah.
I mean, one of my closest friends in grade school owned a Thai restaurant, and it blew, my young mind. You know what I mean? Like, the Northwest suburbs really do have quite the food. When you think of, like, suburbs, you think of, like, oh, it's all Applebee's, TGI Fridays, or some garbage, McDonald's. Not Chicago. I'd actually say the Northwest suburbs really kick ass out here as far as food goes.
I agree. All right, so let's talk about you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about you as a musician.
Not me as a gyro eater. Gotcha.
Let's talk about the Atlas Moth. It's been very, very quiet.
It's been very quiet.
Like, since pandemic quiet.
Right. Very true. By design, a bit. We've done a lot of touring. I definitely threw away my life consistently every year, several times, prior to pandemic. And I remember we were finishing up our touring for Coma Noir, our last record that came out in 2018. I remember our record label was like, we put out that record in February 2018. Our last show on that tour, technically was the next year, but of our tour with Paradise Lost was in like LA in October 2018. And I remember our label came out there like, all right, so you guys are going to get ready to write a new record next year. And I was kind of like, what the fuck? Like, I toured my last record for 3 years, and the record before that, same thing. And they're like, yeah, well, things have changed. That's how you got to do it. And it was really disheartening. We put a lot of work into that record, and we thought it had legs. I mean, it didn't get a bad review. I remember Sanford Parker, our producer, who's done incredible records, Yob, I Hate God, list goes on and on. He was like, I've never gotten a record with more press and it all being good, ever.
Right.
So I was pretty upset about that. I think we were all like really just burnt out, like we thought we had really had a great record on our hands that had more legs than that. And the way the world works, just didn't seem like that was going to work, So we came home and we like started writing a record, but very slowly, trying to kind of decide what like we wanted to do in the future or what we really wanted our band to be. And then the pandemic happened. And then you start wondering, if I can barely make rent, so just for the record here, we had Dave Cush was in our band. He ran his own online, like, spirituality, new age kind of store. We have Andrew Reagan, who's still in our band. He did own Kite String Cantina on Addison.
Okay.
With his wife, Renee, who was Rick Bayless's like sous chef.
Okay.
And they make incredible taquitos, actually. Ooh. Shout out to them. Yeah, they're amazing. They owned a restaurant. Me and my girlfriend at the time were investors in Dante's Pizzeria, which I know you've had on the show before. Mind you, our Dante's was in the delivery range of two other Dante's, and ours was only supposed to be dine-in only. And Beetle, our bass player, was our head chef. So it was pretty hard to justify when none of us could make any money at all. Literally a bunch of, like, our entire band of service industry people.
Yeah, right.
To go and spend 2 hours, 3 hours a week, 4 or 5 hours a week, honestly, with the way we did it, writing a record.
Yeah, I get it.
That God knows when it's going to come out. God knows when we're going to be able to play it. Who knows when we're ever going to be able to play it.
Yeah, everything was a question mark at that point.
And it was really hard to kind of carve out some time to really to dedicate to that, I think,
So you put it away. You put it down for a little bit.
We did.
Is the world recalibrated as you recalibrated?
Yep.
Are you back at it?
Well,
I'm going to eat some fries as you answer that question.
Eat some fries.
You want some?
Yeah, sure. So at that time, we had. Don't mind if I do.
Want to just pour them on your
shit.
on your sandwich?
No, don't worry about it. Okay.
Take more.
Okay. Hit me. Thank you.
Now that's stoner food right there.
Yeah, we've crossed the line now. So we had tried, to kind of get things going during the post, what 2020 was the pandemic, the lockdown, right?
You're asking like you don't know. Like,
I'm curious myself, man. I'm still wondering. I said I went and saw Black Sabbath like a few years ago. That was a decade ago. You know what I mean? Like I'm
I do.
Lost, dude. I don't even know.
Like when I hear that the 90s, when I was on the air primarily at Q101, or 30 years ago. It doesn't.
Mind blower, dude.
Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me.
Mind blower.
Because I still think I'm 25.
I
really
still
not.
think I'm 25 too. Here I am, not 25. So like during that time frame, like say 2021 or so, we had tried to record some stuff, just some covers, trying to just like get our band kind of back into it. You know,
Right.
We had not taken this kind of time off ever.
Right.
You know, we started our band. We practiced literally every day. We got signed in 9 months. We had a record out in 13 months, and then we toured.
That's pretty whirlwind.
Yeah, and we never stopped from 2008 until 2019 when we played our last show. We never once took a break. We never once, went on vacation, really. I sure as hell didn't,
And circumstances aside, when the break was kind of forced upon you, did you realize, oh shit, we kind of needed that?
In hindsight, yes, because of how things have now come around. I feel like I was fighting for my identity as a human, though, because this is the only thing I've known my entire adult life.
Right.
Really, I started when I was 24. I'm 42. Very few formative years there, where the Atlas Moth wasn't part of my life, and
Right.
when it wasn't, I was still trying to basically get to the Atlas Moth, really, in my head, without even knowing it, you could say. But in that time, we tried to record like some covers and this and that, and one of our early members, Dave Cush, who did all the clean vocals, and he was the lead guitar player, he kind of was pushing it off. And I can't blame him. Many of things between money, between family stuff that was going on with him, but it was always like, we talked to him in the spring, and he'd be like, end of summer. End of summer would come, let's do it in winter. Winter would come, let's do it in the spring. Spring would come, let's do it in the fall. And this kept going on and on. In the meantime, I had started Motherless with Alex, our bass player. Andrew and Mike, our drummer and synth player, those guys started a band called Black Cross Hotel, and they were out there doing stuff, and then it just kind of was like, well, I don't know if the Atlas Moth's done, but what's the point of doing anything right now? Like, not like anyone's barking up our tree for any particular reason. And then entered KW, I believe is the name. Now I feel like an ass. That's not right. But he's a promoter from Toronto that does Prepare the Ground Fest. And he came at me and he said that we were the number one band on his list.
Really?
And that was very, very, humbling. It was really nice
Absolutely.
to hear. I was like, oh, maybe someone does care. And he offered us money, which I'm not going to say we did it for the money, but the money it's something that has eluded us for as much success as we has had. And it was nice.
You should be rewarded for working.
I mean, I would at least like to be compensated for it. Not necessarily. I don't need the bonus. You know what I mean? But a paycheck is great. And we decided, you know what? Time to come back.
Good.
And unfortunately, we did reach out to Dave quite a bit, and we have not heard a peep from him in about 2 years.
Interesting.
Yeah, which is a bummer. I lived with Dave for 9 years. We literally lived and breathed this band, and yeah, he's just kind of disappeared off the planet. I still see like.
Was there a fight, or is just one of those things?
Nothing.
Okay.
Last I saw him was Wake Brewery out in. There's some people next to us catching us recording the podcast. There was a beer released by Wake Brewery out in Moline, I think they are, or maybe they're in Davenport. I always forget. That was the last time I saw him, and that was a couple summers ago, and disappeared. So we asked Marcus, who's in Black Cross Hotel, but he also filled in for the Atlas Moth many years ago. He was in Stabbing Westward.
Right.
He was kind of like, he's been on every one of our records, I think, as a guest spot. He's filled in for Andrew. He's Andrew's brother-in-law.
Okay.
So it was like, well, might as well, first right refusal. And here we are. I think we sound fantastic, too. He's been our new Dave.
So tell me about covers.
Covers. We started doing some covers. We were trying to figure out some stuff to do. And honestly, the new material we had was, I remember, I think it was Alex, our bassist, said it was like Crowbar meets Van Halen.
Oh, Jesus.
Which probably sounds more fun in theory than it was in playing it. It was definitely an interesting vibe, and who knows, maybe we'll get back to some of that. I don't know, to be honest with you. But I was always, I'm a huge Metallica fan. That is the number one for me of all time. And I always loved how they broke into the studio doing covers. They kind of like got their feet wet.
Yeah.
Like, let's try to, whatever. And that was the whole thing. Like, let's kind of do some covers. They're easy. All we have to do is learn somebody else's stuff. We don't have to, do all that. So there's a 4-song cover EP. I sent you the one finished track. Which
talk about playing to your audience. It's Escape from New York.
Yes. This is the first time no one knows that. You just which I was going to tell you to anyway, but
okay. Yeah. So I don't need to edit that.
You don't. No.
All right. Escape from New York, which one of my all-time favorite movie themes. I still listen to all those Carpenter scores. This is reason number 9 million why I like you, Stavros.
It's my favorite Carpenter.
And I know you're a horror. You're a head, as they say.
I am a head, as they say. Yeah, and I heard that for years. I was like, why don't we walk out on stage to that? You know what I mean? There's like that song rules.
Well, just the way it builds, like dun dun.
It's
dun,
amazing.
Dun.
Also, Snake Plissken. Kurt Russell is I almost feel like an underrated actor.
Sure.
In the sense of people always talk about the Holy Trinity of Harrison Ford. My all-time favorite actor, Indiana Jones, Han Solo, and Deckard, right?
Yeah.
But we got Jack Burton. We got Snake Plissken.
Yep.
You know what I mean? What's the third one? McCready from The Thing. Mm-hmm. Those are 3 pretty strong entries. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Possibly beats out Deckard. You know what I mean?
agree.
Like, you can't really beat out Han Solo and Indiana Jones. Those are but
truly iconic.
I would take Snake Plissken over Deckard for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Snake lost his luster a little bit with Escape from L.A. through no fault of his own.
I loved Escape from L.A. though. It was so cheeseball.
It was so cheeseball.
It was. And also, John Carpenter hasn't made a good movie since then, I don't think.
Not really, no.
We have to revise his history, right? It's like Metallica, actually. When you look back now, almost 30 years from Load, that may have been the last good Metallica record.
Here's the thing about Load. It holds up better than you think.
100%.
It is better than you think.
Yep.
And if you look at it through the lens of just it being a hard rock album,
yeah,
it hits all the notes.
It really does.
If you compare it to Metallica, it falls flat. But I mean, I love the Outlaw Torn.
It's one of my top 3 favorite Metallica songs.
I love 2x4.
I love 2x4. I love The House that Jack Built.
Yeah.
I love Bleeding Me.
Yeah.
Mama Said. Mm-hmm. I love it, even with the country stuff going on. I think that that album is just kind of like slept on a little bit. I mean, we also saw what they could do trying to be metal again.
Yeah.
Kind of okay. I like them better as COC ripoffs. I think they did a lot better job ripping off COC than trying to be 23 years old, trying to play metal,
So, okay, we've got the Escape from New York cover, which, I mean, it's pretty faithful, just obviously a lot more guitar heavy, or just guitar heavy, period, which you don't get on the synthy John Carpenter score.
Sure don't.
Are you doing songs that have vocals on them?
Yes. There's been a little bit of... we've been trying to figure out some stuff, because... I'm just going to tell you. How about that? I got Another Day in Paradise by Phil Collins. Yeah.
Jesus.
That riff in that song is meant for a metal. It's there.
See, that's what a cover should be. It should be a reinvention. And
absolutely.
Not something I would expect you to pull out.
Never. And I think we've covered... Who we covered before? We've covered the Models and the Popples. We've covered Pink Floyd. We've covered Failure, which the guys from Failure love.
That's
which
awesome.
Is kind of incredible. So we've always kind of gone a little bit outside of the box. We cover this, dare I say, hipster band, Hooray for Earth.
Don't know them.
They have a song called Black Trees that we covered on a 7-inch for Record Store Day a few years back. We've always kind of picked outside the box. What's the point of listening to a metal band play a metal song? You know that we can play
right.
metal,
And, if a metal band were to pick a Phil Collins song out of the catalog, the first thing they're going to go for is In the Air Tonight.
Of course.
It takes balls to go for Another Day in Paradise.
Not to mention, you really realize how talented Phil Collins is. Jesus Christ.
Well, now, I'm older than you, so I grew up with all those records. Like, I bought Face Value and Hello, I Must Be Going,
all right.
and No Jacket Required. I bought those when they were new. Like, I grew up with Phil Collins.
Right.
I agree.
He's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of going... Mind you, we started this during the first Trump presidency, I want to let you know. So we were all feeling a certain way.
Uh-huh.
Another Day in Paradise, Escape from New York, Planet Earth.
Duran
Duran. Which is one of
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's one of our favorite bands collectively. We all love Duran Duran. My middle name is John, after John Taylor.
It is not.
It is. Yeah, that's
Your
true.
parents named you after John Taylor?
Technically, my sister did. If I was a boy, my brother got the first name. My sister got the middle name. If I was a girl, flip-flop. I was a boy. Here I am. So, John Taylor.
Yeah, Duran Duran, again, another band I grew up buying those records. I think their place in music
Incredible
is
band.
rock solid. And those albums are so fucking good.
I love all of them, too. You know, like, there's really no Duran Duran I don't get down with, oddly enough. And then, this was my pick, personally, because I've been dying to do something a little bit along these lines. This song I thought was perfect was Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun by the Beastie Boys.
Oh, from Paul's Boutique.
Yes.
Well done.
I am a huge hip-hop head, and I always sit there and say that I'm a rapper because all of my lyrics follow a kick and a snare. You know what I mean? Like, everything I do is a kick and a snare. So I've always thought about it. I always joke that I'm a rapper in a metal band. And that's it. All just kind of
What a wild collection!
Yeah, it's a weird collection.
No overlap at all
whatsoever.
No.
Which is how I like it. You
Yeah,
know what I mean, I like, but it all sounds like the Atlas Moth, which is kind of like the whole fun behind it.
Okay,
you know? Like so
when do we get to hear this? Because my curiosity is piqued.
I'm thinking fall.
Okay.
We basically have finished it besides Dave's parts and my vocals. So now that we have somebody in the band, initially we were going to try to make this kind of like an Atlas Moth and Friends thing and just have a bunch of our friends kind of jump in on it. But now that we have Marcus like solidified, I'm pretty sure that when we get home from this tour, we're probably going to slowly work on that. You know, like nowadays you can record everything at home anyway. So
Yeah.
I have recording set up at home. I know Andrew Andrew produced the first 4 Atlas Moth, if you really count our EPs and all that stuff. So he can record. So I think we're going to try to knock it out when we get home and try to put it out by the end of the year. That's my plan.
Oh, that's exciting.
Yeah. It's a really fun collection, and I'm really excited for people to hear it. 'Cause I think it came out better than I anticipated it.
I'm thinking, and I'm not a singer, I'm thinking of those 3, Planet Earth sounds like the hardest one to sing.
Well, yes, if you want to count actually, it's one I don't really plan on singing.
Okay.
I was going to give that one up to somebody else or to Marcus, possibly.
Okay.
Phil Collins' vocal cadence is fucking insane.
Interesting.
It
Okay.
makes no goddamn sense. Like, I dare you to go to karaoke and try Another Day in Paris. You will fail. I assure you of that. It is insane. I've tried to record this song. This is the one I started with. It's like, oh, I'm going to knock this bad boy out of the park. No. Hell no. Made me give up for a month, you know. Like obviously, I willingly gave up because I had other things to do, you know. But that's why it's not done. I was hoping to finish before this run that we're going on. That starts the 27th, but alas, here we are. You know.
So you're going on a run.
We're going on a run. Around preparing the Ground Festival in Toronto. They kind of brought us back, and then we said Toronto, awesome. It's always been a stronghold for us.
I love that city.
It's Chicago light. It's Canada, Chicago, Canada.
The first time I went there, I'm like, oh, cool. It's by a Great Lake. It has cool architecture.
It's like literally used in almost every movie as Chicago.
Yeah.
Because it's cheaper to film there than here.
Although you go through downtown and it's Blade Runner.
Yeah, you're right.
With the neon.
That's true. Which I love.
Totally.
Yeah, also, total sucker for it anyway. But yeah, they kind of brought us back, and we were like, well, we can't play Toronto, not play Chicago. And then we were like, what? We haven't played it since 2019? And we're just going to play a festival in our hometown? We're going to be awful.
So where are you playing in Chicago?
Empty Bottle, June 8th.
Excellent. Oh, my God.
Yeah. Right around the corner here.
It's next month.
Yeah, it's real soon. Yeah, I haven't been on stage with these guys since 2019. Dark Lord Day. So...
Does Empty Bottle know how loud you are?
Oh, we did a record release for Common Noir there. They've been old collaborators of ours for a long time. They always take care of us, Empty Bottle, and it's always wonderful to play there. I fucking love that stage.
My hands were filthy earlier because of the delicious gyros from the works. But I did bring as a visual aid we referenced Common Noir.
That was the record right there.
This is the vinyl edition of said record on prosthetic. A fine release. I'm not going to open the whole thing up because I don't have room, but
it's very large. Yeah.
There you go. The Atlas Moth in vinyl form. A classic, no matter how you look at it. All right. So we've got the bottle next month. Covers EP hopefully this fall.
Pretty sure.
I was looking at my notes from when I interviewed you about Common Noir. I think I referred to it as a gentle collection of family favorites.
That's right.
Yeah. Fair enough. Let's talk about Motherless. When did Motherless start up?
Well, it was whenever Iron Maiden played United Center. Whenever that was.
It was a couple years ago, yeah.
2022. 3, something like that.
Which, okay, before you go any further, are you as excited as I am for the 50th?
Yes.
That tour is going to be ridiculous.
I fucking love Iron Maiden.
I fucking love Iron Maiden. Every album up through Fear of the Dark on this tour.
Literally, and you know what? I saw them, well, you know, it could be 10 years, it could be 15 years, who fucking knows. It was whenever they put out, like, maybe the first Dickinson album again.
Brave New World.
Was that it? Yeah, right?
So that was 2000.
Christ. What the fuck, man?
So that was Ghost of the Navigator, Brave New World, Blood Brothers.
Was that Rosemount, I think? Mm-hmm. And they played all of Brave New World. And I was like, what? You know, like, where the fuck is the Trooper?
Iron Maiden's one of the only bands that can do that and get away with it. They did the same thing with, what was it, Matter of Life and Death, like 5 years later.
So I swore it off. I'm like, I'm not going again.
Really?
Yeah, I was like, fuck that.
Oh, in hindsight, do you realize you...
A little fucked up.
Brave New World's a great record.
It's a good record. Yeah, but you know, like, the only time I'd ever seen Iron Maiden actually was at Ozfest, and they played, you know, first 4 records, just the hits, dude, and it was incredible.
Yeah.
It sounded so good, you know, like Eddie was out there waving the fucking flag. It was amazing, you know, like, and then I go see him. I'm like, I gotta go see him again. They're incredible. And I just heard a bunch of new songs that I hadn't really understood yet. I didn't think I really needed to care about them. You know what I mean? It's a great record, though. You know, so I didn't go see him again. And then, oddly enough, Alex from the Atlas Moth was like, hey, man, I got an extra ticket for Iron Maiden at United Center. And I was like, fuck yeah. You know, I'm not going to let you go to that alone, pal. We went there, and we were like, why don't we start a band? Like, we're sitting here waiting around for Dave.
That's amazing.
To get back to us to start the Atlas Moth again. Andrew and Mike are doing this Black Cross Hotel thing, and I was like, he's like, why are we in a band, man? And he's like, it was very much like, I'm missing this in my life. I'm like, I am too. Like,
just an epiphany moment.
Yeah. So I literally went, and the next night I went to go pick up my then girlfriend at work, at Dante's Tavern, and Gary Naples from literally every other band in Chicago that Mike, the Atlas Moth drummer, doesn't drum for. He's in the band Trouble, not actually in Trouble. Without Waves, Bear Mace, Wizzo, I think there's like 12 others. He was in Hate Monger for a minute. He was at Dante's drinking, and he was like, hey, what's up with your band? And I was like, oh, well, and literally before I could say anything, he's like, you're the guy I want to start a band with, let's start a band. I'm like, well, I guess you're in my new band. And I was like, you know.
So it all just kind of fell in place, like, organically. You didn't force it.
I'm very big on listening to the universe. I hate being a hippie, but I'm something about everything that works in my life has always just been handed to me in a way, or like presented to me in a way where it's like, well, duh, dude, just do it. So he came at me, and I was like, hey, well, maybe we should have another guitar player just so I don't have to do everything. That'd be cool. And he goes, well, Anthony from Without Waves. Before he even talked to Anthony, he was in the band.
I love it.
And yeah, we got together right around Halloween. I think it was 2023. And yeah, we hit the ground running, man. We wrote this record. It's really vicious. I sent it to you.
It is really vicious.
It's 32 minutes or something like that. You know, it's like, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Without Waves, but they are technical, very technical. And obviously Atlas Moth is pretty technical. And
yeah,
my whole thing was like, I want to write 2.5 minute bangers. This band's supposed to be fun. We were really trying to not overthink things.
Right.
If it makes us laugh. All these songs were named after different like Simpsons references.
Were they really? Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
We have a few songs written for a second record already. One of them is like East Ogdenville or whatever, you know, like. So yeah, we're just a bunch of goofs. And,
it's supposed to be fun.
At the end of the day, that's all you're getting out of it nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm not becoming a rich man off of fucking playing heavy metal, dude, you know? Like, I'm well aware of that. But the fact of the matter is that I have to do it. Because in those years of the Atlas Moth being off, I was a miserable human being, you know? I honestly feel like I lost a little bit of who I was.
Yeah, you've got to have your creative outlet.
I have to, yeah. So, unfortunately, I did not choose pop. You know, something to make me rich and famous, which is great at this point.
But once you reach, I mean, you said you're 42 years old, right? 42? You reach a certain age, you're like, I just need to do things to make my soul happy.
Yes. I don't care about being any. I was just hanging out with Def Heaven, who are old friends of ours. The other day they played Metro. They were fantastic. I've known those guys since they were kids, pretty much. You know, they're a few years younger than me. I love them, you know, like brothers. And I sat there and I was like, I'm so happy for you guys. I can see like my boys who opened for us headlining Metro sold out. And then I was like, I would love to play that show, but to headline that show sounds like a fucking headache. I would never want to do it. I just don't think that I don't want to have. I want to open for bigger bands. I love that. I love playing to as many people as possible. I don't want the responsibility of headlining a 20,000 cap venue. It sounds awful.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, it's just not for me, man. I appreciate my privacy more than I ever have, especially in the state of the world. I like being appreciated, but I like being unrecognized. You know what I mean? In the sense of like I can walk into Target and not be bothered by somebody. You know,
that's always been my radio philosophy.
Yeah,
like I never wanted to be the morning guy. Never wanted to be the afternoon guy. Like I'm cool just doing my fringy stuff.
Yeah, man, I'm into living my life, not just like living it around this persona that you think that maybe you connect with, but in all honesty, do you?
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's helpful career advice.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think people are getting something out of it.
Maybe, yeah. It took me a long time. I wanted to just be James Hetfield for years. And then it was just like, man, that sounds like a miserable existence.
Yeah.
You know, like I met James came to see us play. And I remember talking to him and being like, this guy doesn't seem like he's comfortable here.
Right.
You know, and it's like, that sucks. I want to be able to go see Death Heaven, enjoy their set. I was recognized, of course. I'm in Chicago at a fucking metal show. You know, some people are going to recognize me. But it's never more than like, hey, man, what's up? Looking forward to the show or whatever.
Yeah.
Love the new record or something like that. You know, and I love that. That's great. Never get enough of that. But
it never crosses over to weird.
I was like walked out with George, the singer of Death Heaven, after the set out of Metro. And there was a line of kids.
Wow.
Like kids. I mean, who knows? They could have been 25. But to me, they looked like they were 16. Mm-hmm. And that's cool as hell, man. I think it's so awesome that they're a band that, you know, is connecting with these younger generations that I think are all doomed as far as the musical taste goes. But I'm happy that Death Heaven is what they get into. But like, I'm sitting there being like, man, I'm 42. I don't know if I can connect to a 16-year-old. I don't know if I care to be at that level, man. I think I'm pretty happy. I get a lot of money from record labels to record records. I never have to worry about doing that at a level I don't want to do.
That's a beautiful thing.
I can play all the big cities in this country and draw a crowd. I can do Europe. That's enough. I'm happy. I have abundance, man.
That's the right perspective.
Yeah.
And you brought up an interesting point. I have a daughter who is just turned 19, which is astonishing to me. Amazing. But yeah, I wonder where that generation is getting their music with guitars from.
I don't know. You know, I'll tell you what, I've been seeing a lot more kids interested in guitar music. And that's
encouraging.
Yeah, it is encouraging. You know, I can't imagine that there wouldn't be. Everything is cyclical.
Of course, but the cycle's taking a lot longer than anyone expected.
Agreed. I mean, you've been around in radio for years, but through my growing up, right? You know, you were a voice of my teenage years. And we both know that, you know, we went from, you know, hair metal to grunge to whatever that third wave alternative was, you know, like the Creeds and the stuff, and then, but in all that time, hip hop had come up and made a real huge impact on pop culture and you know, whatever. There's so much music now, so the fact that there are kids being like Nirvana, cool. I'm like, yo, right on, dude. You know what I mean? We seeing kids waiting outside with every Death Heaven vinyl, waiting to get signed. I was like,
that's awesome.
This is encouraging. For a long time, I was only seeing guys that look like me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Standing in the back with your arms crossed, judging me like they could do it better, you know?
Bunch of guys who look like they run craft breweries.
100%. Yeah. They love craft beer, and they look like they should be chopping wood, but they've never picked up an axe. Not once, yeah. You know, so it's nice to see kids out there being like, oh, man, I like these bands, you know? Like, and I hope that there's like some sort of like Terminator-esque fight back against AI, you know, to stop Skynet, because
that ship has set sail. I turned on my phone this morning, and overnight it had updated with the new operating system, so everything is AI powered on my phone now.
Great.
All right, so to summarize, Stavros, we just had delicious gyros.
We did.
I really do miss. I haven't had gyros in so long.
I haven't had one since I moved back out here, and I'm glad. I was like, oh, he brought up the works. I'm going to eat this motherfucker. You know?
And you're right. The sauce makes the difference.
It does. I think that there's one. Well, so there was a place out here called Wally's. I think that's gone now.
Okay. I don't even know.
That was the other one. I think that was good. I think it's gone. I think this is the reigning king.
Now, if we've learned anything, gyros is not car food.
Dude, we did it. Is it not car food?
Well, I mean, I'm not a big, like, eat meat with your hands kind of guy. Like, I would have preferred a fork and a knife for that.
Okay, you use those things. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, I would say you could drive and eat it.
Oh, no, driving, that you're wearing those onions home.
Yeah, absolutely. As if I'm not already.
As it is, I've got...
I already got a little bit over there.
Got some sauce.
I probably have a gyro inside my jacket.
Yeah. Shake it out when we...
Yeah.
All right, so Atlas Moth, we'll see you at the Empty Bottle in June. Covers to come with Phil Collins, Duran Duran, Beastie Boys, and John Carpenter.
How can you go wrong? Also, we are writing... I have written a new song, so there will be some new Atlas Moth records coming.
This is awesome. And then Motherless, September 5th, for just this blazing, blow your head off in short order songs.
Yeah, actually, we have a record release. We just confirmed it yesterday with a fellow Chicagoans, Death Pose. A fantastic band from here. They're on Brutal Panda Records, which is one of our old labels, one of the old Talisman labels. We're going to do a dual record release show August 29th at the Burlington.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's going to happen too. So.
Not the Burlington Coat Factory.
No, not in Golf Mill. It'll be at the Burlington on Fullerton Avenue.
Okay. Yeah. Although that would be pretty metal.
It would be kind of. I think I would prefer to play in like underwear though than the coat section. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
A little bit more open, not as bulky.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Right,
that makes sense.
Right.
All right, Stavros, thank you for doing this.
Always.
This was 4 years between appearances.
I just did it to hang out.
Right. I when I left the house, I'm like, I'm going to hang out with Stavros. This will be cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. Yeah, I was super stoked. We did say that we were going to go to Kukla. Right? We had talked about Kukla, that place in Niles that's opening up.
Yes.
Yes, and it's still not open. It's still under construction.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, so we'll have to do that when it opens up. You know.
How is it still under construction?
I have no idea. That place has been becoming Kukla for like 3 years.
Let me ask you one more thing because you just triggered something different.
Absolutely.
You are Greek, as we established.
Yes.
Is the term Greek lightning offensive?
Not at all. Not to me. I mean, that's what you call when you need a new roof. You know, or like the flooring tile is too cracked, and you know, maybe Greek lightning hits this place. You know, there was actually a place down the block over here too called Boobies.
Yeah, of course, everyone knows Boobies.
Look it up if you don't, because it's on brand. That place may have been affected by Greek lightning several times over the years. I'm pretty sure. You know, pretty positive.
It's a stormy area.
It is a stormy area. That's right. Can't go wrong.
All right, thank you, Stavros.
Thank you, James.